This is an opportunity for you to share anything that you're learning. Also time for you to ask any other questions you might have, any questions you might have for the panel. So we have about 15 minutes, is that right, for this portion? And yes, first.
My first question is directed to Allison. In that period when you started at Apple where you knew you were brought in for exactly what you had to offer, but those first 2 years were as tough as they were because you hadn't yet reproved yourself. If you could give us some tips on how you managed your own mental psyche about the situation, but two, any tips to help demonstrate your worth, I don't know how to say it differently, but how to gain that trust.
Couple of things. One was, I'm singing her praises as much as I can because she was instrumental in so many things during my time there. When you're, and many of us are in challenging roles, and I didn't have mentors. You need a guide. So point number one is to help you kind of stay centered and focused and moving forward. Somebody like a Wendy, if not this one. But the other thing is, it was extraordinarily challenging psychically, as you said, not to feel like you were being validated or even heard. And what I would do is I would draw strength from my team, honestly, representing their interests and taking things back to them and just staying focused on where I knew I could, provide value and insight and all those kinds of things. So got very, 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 very committed and close to the team that I had there. And so I think that was important. But also, just a constant reminder of what you're good at, where you can contribute, and what you can do. There's more that I would want to say on that topic, but we'll let some others do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I just throw one thing in on top of that? That's a beautiful answer, is that, you know how when astronauts go up into space, they find that they lose bone, that they stop manufacturing bone because bone comes from resistance. And what I say is that when you have people in your environment that are not validating you, to a certain degree, it's happening for you, not to you. It's happening for you. Because what it requires, as Allison so beautifully demonstrates by her life and what she's doing now, it requires that you reach down deeper than you ever have before to find the truth of who you are and the authentic version of who you are, and then to give it. And that's really what happens. It's like the more you're pressed down, the more you bounce back. So it's really good. The harder the wind, the stronger the tree. Yes?
You just mentioned what happened with the astronauts in gravity.
Yes.
And some of the people sitting behind me may have noticed that I keep standing up every 10 or 15 minutes. And the reason is, about 2 weeks ago, I read a very important article about that. And we need to stand up 36 times a day. So in a 9-hour day, that's every 15 minutes. And it's easy these days to set that, because our hearts and our bones need to push against gravity, and all you have to do is stand up and sit down.
Wow.
So since you brought astronauts up, I want to apologize.
Love that. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Sit down. Stand up again. Sit down. I always wanted to do that.
Stand up desk, you need to sit down and stand up every 15 minutes.
I love that.
That is awesome.
Since I started doing it, everybody in every meeting has started to join me.
I love that.
On top of it, take Nilofer Merchant's advice in her TED Talk to take your meetings walking. Another good one. Okay, yes, please, stand right up.
First, I want to say thank you to Loretta for your share. You want me to say stand? For your share. Actually, in listening to you, I made a decision sitting here about something that I was actually going to do on Monday. But as you shared, the times that we go through are preparing us for the times ahead, even though we can't see them. So that's actually one of my takeaways. My question actually is for you, Allison. You made a lot of good and valid points as well. As a matter of fact, one of the points that you made is something that I've always shared with my leadership, and that is you can lead from wherever you stand. I had that conversation with my manager even on Friday. You can lead from wherever you stand. A story that I shared with the cohort here is that in my company, we have the opportunity to have mentors, and I was aligned with a male mentor. I would have preferred a female, but I was aligned with a male mentor. I already had what I needed to bring to the table, what I was asking for, what my ask was. I told him what my ask was. He told me what my ask should be. And so I was new, and I wanted to be able to learn the lay of the land and navigate the new territory that I just landed in. His agenda for me was, where do you want to be and what is your position in the next 2 years? I said, I'm sorry, that's not my agenda. And I actually had to part ways because I said, that's not my agenda. So I think that has to be balanced, and my question to you is, what's your take on that? The fine line we have to walk between realizing we can lead from wherever we stand and that we have to realize that we are in Rome and that the titles are respected.
I think the question is, yep, we can lead from where we stand, but we live in a world that is that male
Masculine
power
defined.
structure, masculine defined. Don't give up your femininity. Do the thing that, stay where you are. Don't give that up. And I think, I subscribe. I really subscribe to the point of view. If you do the right reasons, do the right thing for the right reasons in the right way, you get the right outcome. I believe in karma, and so I live there. And it will come around. And yeah, you're like getting back to your question about what it was like for those 2 years. I wanted to prove to him that I was unflappable. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't do that to me and let me crumble. And so that's part of it too. Is just stare them down. That's not okay. And so stay where you are, lead from where you are, hold on to that, and you will win.
Great. Yes, please, stand right up. Mike, oh, you got one, great.
I'm Rashmi, and I'm currently leading a technology group at Apple and pushing against resistance. And it's my 2-year turn, so I'm living what probably Allison, and it's a blasphemy, but I'm living what probably Allison went through, and I'm inspired just by all of that what you said, and I shared that here. The brutal honesty with which all of you have said whatever you've said, I think that has inspired me to believe that this is something that is building me and my character, and have faith that I am there because of what I bring, and that's been the biggest takeaway for me. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
My question is, and I was talking to Lisa before when we were the networking. So I'm from a technology background, and and Barbara, I started a group before I joined Apple. I was at Qualcomm, which had no women's organization, even though they've been around for 30 years. And we started an organization called Qualcomm Women in Science and Engineering, QWISE. And Barbara came and gave us a talk. We host every International Women's Day around March. We always host an event, and Barbara actually came and gave us a talk there.
Nice.
And the focus has always been trying to get more women into technology. And so we try a lot of things. We go to school. We try to inspire young girls that it is a great way to have a career in technology. And they are smart enough. They have everything that it takes. Not, like their gender doesn't define which path they have to take. And in one of the conversation with a young girl, I was just having a conversation and talking to her, and I asked her, would you consider a career in engineering? And I went to school here in Stanford, and I had a whole group of outstanding women engineers that I went to school with, and I was asking her, and she said, and this is recently, this is now when we use so much of technology, she said it is social suicide.
Oh.
I would not do that. This is her actual. This is what she told me. I'm quoting her.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking so hard, and it was just so sad to think that she would make a career choice and define herself to be acceptable socially. And I was clueless about what to tell her. I could not compete with the image that she has of who she was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I was at loss for words.
Yeah.
How do you answer that?
Loretta, tell the story of the woman that got the patent.
Yeah, we have a executive vice president at AT&T, Marion Croak. Last year, she received her 100th patent, and she leads a team of 2,000 technology leaders. One of the things that we do is we actually bring the young girls into our company, and one of our ERGs, for example, has the Organization of Asian Indians actually had one-on-one coding with them to show them how fun it is to be an engineer and to actually have an end product at the end. And it gave them a different view of what it is. And there are some young men that are in that class with them so that they can see that the men are there and they are paired up, so to speak, so it's not as threatening as it used to be in terms of being a young girl and being too smart, I think is what she was getting at. But you have to bring them in and let them see the women engaging in that activity. And we have a lot of job shadow days where young girls are paired up with our STEM professionals within the company, and they get to see how much fun we have.
It's great. It's great.
And so, but it's a visual, and we have to keep putting opportunities in front of them. We just can't say the words. You have to put them in the environment, so to speak.
Yes, please.
Hi, thank you, Wendy. This is a great event, and I also am a Wendy. So double appreciate.
Don't Wendy's have more fun?
We do. We do. So I have a question for the CEOs, Lisa and Allison. Allison, I had the pleasure of working with one of the CEOs of one of the companies that's in your accelerator, and I know that you have a very innovative and creative office environment and a way of working. But the question I have for both of you is, you've expressed earlier today views for how leadership should look and the values that we should express in our work. Can you give some examples of how you manage your teams, how you incentivize your teams, how you pay people, how you reward people? What are you doing in your own new companies that you've established to create a new set of values?
Three things. The first is that we are a mission-driven for-profit company. So Blogger exists to create opportunity for women and men in social media to gain additional education, community, exposure for their writing, photography, video blogging, and ultimately economic empowerment if they want it. So everything we do tracks back to that mission, whether it's a partnership with a major consumer packaged goods company that's driving advertising, or it's our conference that we're holding in San Jose this summer for 4,000 women. It's all about driving to that mission. Very important. And so if it's not pro-community, either for reach or revenue, we don't do it. But the second thing is, when it comes to recruiting and retaining, you know, we're a 50-person startup and like a $39 million company, as you described. There are two things I need to do to create some sanity in the Silicon Valley meritocracy and not recreate that old culture that you were describing so beautifully. The first is that for people who care most about dinner time, these tend to be, but not always, are people who happen to have children under 18 in the home. We protect dinner time. I don't care which 60 to 80 hours a week you work, right? Go coach the team. Be gone between 5 and 9. I just need to know that your teams are feeling as though you're there and that you're here for the rest of the executive team when we need you. For people who would rather work their hardcore 5 days and then be totally offline for 2.5 days for the weekend, go forth, multiply, have a life. I don't have that. I'm a parent, right? So have a great time. It's all about setting and meeting expectations with each other. And I think the last thing is integrity. Earlier, you heard that I have a real bias toward the metrics. We were talking earlier with Andrea about what it's like to be so nice that people don't take you seriously. That was me once. And metrics don't lie. Metrics put your answer first. And the way to avoid a political culture or a culture that Maria Huber and I were talking about with the group, which is how do you avoid a scenario where you're just aping the bullies and the bullshit? And the answer is that if you put the numbers first and say, here's where we're going to drive to this number, you can still smile and be very pleasant to work with.
It was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Is there more on that? Okay.
Well, I'll do it really fast. One, yes, ditto, ditto, ditto. As you know, I don't want my moms to ever feel like they miss a meeting or they can't be there on time or they're, so that's inexcusable. Like, if you have to be somewhere to be with your family or to be with your kids, that comes first, period, full stop. So that's policy, no matter, and the dads, everybody. So that's point one. Point number two is we wanted to create an economic and financial model that was interesting for our employees and align their incentives and goals with the companies that we're helping to build. And so it's very venture economics based. We are a fees plus equity company in the sense that we have equity in all the companies, the portfolio companies that we work with, and in that way, their incentives are totally aligned. So, we're all building things together. It's, I will say that my experience at Apple, in many ways, prepared me for it. It was burnishing my soul to create and made it possible for me to create an environment and a way of working that was what I had hoped that we could have built there. So that was important to take that experience.
So great, yeah. People love to work where she is. I actually have one more question. I don't think we have any more time after that, so there's one more woman's been waiting.
Hi, my name is Sally.
Sally Carlisle.
Sally Carlisle. I'm re-entering the job market, re-entering the business world after 7 years off parenting. I'm here for inspiration and ideas. Do you have any tips, hints, inspiration?
In terms of coming back into the workforce after not being in the workforce?
Staying at home, driving that soccer mom van,
Right.
which I no longer have. That was my first step. I'm in a Highlander now.
Sally got rid of her car, and I got the mom car, so we're switching places. Tell us what it is that you want to do so that everybody in the room can know what it is that you're looking for.
I knew the answer to that question.
Well, it has to do with marketing. That's what you're really good at, right?
Yes,
You want to work?
I'm really good at helping companies figure out how to make money with an old product, rejuvenating an old product.
And bringing it into a new market and just positioning it and articulating.
That's what she wants to do for herself.
Right. That's perfect. There you go. Well, when you learn that, that's great. Well, anybody who knows about those opportunities should speak to Sally. I think that's best. Now, somebody has something here for that.
No, that's a great first step. Ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Say, use your network.
Way in the back. This is the last one.
I love the conversation about how to bring a valuing and honoring of feminine into the context of leadership. Mm-hmm. And I'm really interested in hearing about success or best practices that you have found or used in engaging men in championing and really valuing that. Because from my perspective, it's once we get men really valuing what the feminine brings that will actually hit the tipping point.
Yeah. Thank you. Does anyone have anything? Because I can answer it if you don't. Okay. Well, I agree with you 100%. I think men are really wanting to know how they can help. In general, they really want to come on board, and they feel a little awkward because they don't know how to approach that conversation. And I think the more that we create ways to educate them and bring them on board ourselves, and also internalizing ourselves, our own masculine strengths, putting those in service to our feminine wisdom and being a demonstration of that is another way. But enlisting them in learning about how they can support. And I think part of it has to do with being really rigorous about the metrics, really being honest, every company, and doing an assessment about how far is the gender equity gap, and other ways of measuring a company that way so that you can tell the truth about it. A little introduction to something that was warm to my heart. And so Kate, can you come up with me? And Pam, can you come up with me? And come on up, Kate. Kate is from Samasource, and I'm so privileged to have her here today. We, in honor of International Women's Day, we wanted to have a way to touch women in other parts of the world, not just the women in Silicon Valley. So this is going to be a brief little fundraising, and you're going to explain to women how to do that. Do we watch the video first, and then you'll explain? Yeah, okay, let's do that. So we're going to watch a video. Technology is amazing. The advances we've made in technology have given us so many things that we never even dreamed that we could have. Sometimes technology can create miracles, and sometimes it's used for really shallow things. I'm sure you can think of one that you might be using yourself. But when I heard about Samasource, I really got excited because it's using technology to really change people's lives, and it creates a ripple effect that really can change the world. When I was younger, a couple decades ago, I got really sick, and it was one of the hardest parts of my life because I lost my sense of purpose. I felt like I wasn't really valuable anymore. Being sick, you can feel like an outsider, cast off. My utility was lost. I didn't know that I was useful. I didn't feel valuable. The journey that I went on to discover what I had to give and my purpose in life was incredibly challenging, but also really the most important journey I could take. And when I did discover how I could be useful in the world, and I felt like I could make a difference, it just changed everything for me. And I think every person feels that way. We all have something to contribute, and we all want to be useful. And we all have something really unique to contribute, and it's so important that we find it. But just finding basic work is also important. 1.8 billion people lack access to a decent job in the world. And with the technology today, Samasource has proven that we can use it to connect women and youth to meaningful work. Work that can change not just their income and give them a fair wage, but that can change their lives, their communities, and their whole town or region that they come from. So what Samasource does is it takes large data projects from Silicon Valley, from Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, and it breaks down those data projects into digital tasks, and then it farms them out to people who are eligible in different countries that are disadvantaged, that are not earning a decent wage, and gives them the opportunity to work. So I really got excited when I saw this kind of coming together of these parts from my personal mission, where we live in Silicon Valley, the incredible advantages that we have from technology, and then finding this company that's doing such meaningful work. And it can change the world. I'm so excited about Samasource. I hope you will be too, and I hope you'll give today. Thanks. Obviously, I said everything there that I need to say. This is an amazing organization. Can we put the web page up that shows the Samasource, the pledge page? So Indiegogo is amazing. Indiegogo, come up here.
Okay,
You go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Pam, and this is Elisa, and we work at Indiegogo. We're on the cause team, and we've been helping out with this campaign that we're really excited about. So we're just kicking it off, and actually, I think if you refresh that page, the number has jumped a little bit. So today is a special day in honor of... Nice. Yeah. And if only like every time you refresh, that would happen. You guys can do that. So in honor of International Women's Day, Indiegogo is matching the funds contributed. We're doing $1 for every $25, and just today. So if you guys are interested in making a contribution, that would be wonderful, even if it was a little bit, or if you wanted to share it with your network, to really get the word out there. If we can just think about how this is going to multiply exponentially if you guys share this on Twitter, on Facebook. If you're interested in making a contribution, it's just you go to Indiegogo. Yep, open up your phone.
Your phone's open. You can make it. What's the smallest contribution they can make?
You can make $1 contribution.
Come on, everybody. You can do $1. Get your phones out.
You know, and the thing about making even a small contribution like that is it builds the momentum of a campaign. Indiegogo lists campaigns according to their activity. We don't curate like a lot of other fundraising sites. So you guys can help push this to our front page today. Everyone's going to see it. Okay.
Can you show the perks, please? So there
Yes.
are perks for, there are some really cool perks.
Just scroll down a little bit there.
So for $50, there is the Samasource benefit.
It's going to be on April 16th.
April 16th. There you go. $80 will be a ticket to the WL Forum.
Before you go on, so they already came to that. That's today. So
Hello, welcome.
What I want to say is there's going to be a really special cocktail party with Leela, who's amazing, who founded Samasource, me, and some of the panelists. I haven't gotten them signed in blood yet. But it's going to be on April 16th, right in the marina. It's going to be a very special cocktail party. And if you donate $50 or more, you will get a ticket to that cocktail party. And then the next one is, go ahead, finish. I didn't mean to take your place.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got it. So $1,000 is on your mark coaching session. This is with you, correct, Wendy?
This would be with me or one of the unmarked coaches.
Perfect.
Yes. That's if you donate $1,000 or more.
Correct. And then $25,000 is Mud on Your Boots trip. So, Kate, did you want to talk about that a little bit, or
just say what Mud on Your Boots is?
Hi, everybody, and thanks for all your participation today. It's been really inspiring, and I think the messages from the panel in terms of voices and fear and doing things in a different way. The Samasource initiative is an opportunity to kind of come with us to the field in one of our locations in either Kenya or Uganda, and you will not be pampered. You will experience the community. But it's really literally mud on your boots, so it's truth in advertising. And you'll be joined with several other CEOs that are beginning to take something called the Impact Pledge. And it's a pledge to commit a certain percentage of your outsourced budget to this type of an approach of work, where you actually help unleash and unharness the possibilities of this kind of engagement with communities so that women, we trend to benefit mostly women, can actually support themselves and their families. And so thanks in advance for, I'm all of a sudden really nervous. I talk all the time in front of people. And after this group, I'm very, very nervous. But thank you in advance for any support. But that would be an opportunity to join on a private plane with Lila, the CEO, and several other CEOs from the area who have committed themselves to this pledge.
Great. So let's turn that $380 into $5,000 by the end of the day. We're really excited. Pam and I both have our tablet and our computers if you guys need help. And Indiegogo really prides themselves off of not only fundraising for these amazing kind of causes and creative and entrepreneurial ventures, but also being a part of this community, right? So it's a social engagement piece. Again, if you don't want to contribute, please do share it on your social networks and get the word out for Samasource. So thank you.
So just as a little guide here, that's right. So if you just go to indiegogo.com/projects/Samasource, you will get to the contribution page. And also, if you guys are interested, we are doing a special initiative today for International Women's Day. So we have an actual page on there. You can go to Browse Women's Day campaigns if you see at the top right. And these are all campaigns that are focused around empowering women. And we're highlighting them all. They're wonderful. If you just want to find out about some cool projects going on in your community, this is a great place to go. So thank you very much.
Such great work, Indiegogo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for taking a moment to do that, and I just want to take this moment to thank our panelists, because what an incredible conversation we just had. So rich. Thank you. And just thank you.